And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Saturday morning's flying weather graphic here showing two areas of IFR, one across the southeast coast, another one up here for the north slope out to the central and western Arctic coast, maybe a little bit of IFR to start the day there over the central Seward Peninsula. Otherwise, a lot of marginal VFR here from the Alaska Range right on down into the northeast Pacific, and also the Bering Sea and the Aleutians, Kodiak Island, Bristol Bay VFR, the areas of VFR in the west central interior. For the afternoon, IFR kind of retreats back to the west here, covering the Arctic coast there, and marginal VFR right on down to the Brooks Range, on the north slope anyway. Some marginal VFR here over the eastern interior and along the Alaska Range, right on down into the Aleutian Range, and then IFR, small area IFR here on the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula, and IFR over the eastern part of the southeast coast. Otherwise, looks like some VFR might show up in the afternoon there along Prince of Wales Island, possibly Metlakatla, those areas, and Dixon Entrance, and not much change out west with marginal VFR conditions. And then for Sunday morning, you can see, again, no change out over the Bering Sea, mostly marginal, distinct lack of IFR out west there with marginal VFR for the Aleutians right up to the coast, in over the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, and across portions of the Kuskokwim Valley with the marginal VFR again along the Alaska Range, and even some IFR up here over the mountains, White Mountains there, some IFR, maybe the 40-mile country there, and also for the North Slope and much of the Arctic coast, especially on the east side there, looking for a lot of IFR for the eastern Beaufort Sea and IFR for the Panhandle and in the North Gulf Coast, mostly over the mountainous terrain there in the Coast Range, and that holds into the afternoon with IFR here. Northern Prince William Sound to around Yakutat, Lynn Canal Glacier Bay area, and the eastern southeast coast with marginal VFR for the Panhandle. Good VFR here over the west central interior with areas of VFR all the way down to Kodiak Island, some VFR for Cook Inlet into the southern Susitna Valley. And lower conditions again, Copper River Basin, marginal VFR there, as well as the Alaska Range around the park, IFR holding into the afternoon. And out west, not too bad, some VFR, kind of a VFR zone right through here, separating two areas of marginal VFR, northern and eastern Bering Sea, and from about Atka westward there toward the Komodorsky Islands. So moving on to the passes for the Brooks Range. Not too bad for Saturday. VFR for both passes in the forecast there, Lake Clark and Merrill. Marginal VFR. In fact, the entire Alaska Range will be mostly marginal. So the passes, rainy and windy, marginal VFR. Isabel, marginal. Mintasta looking marginal as well. Tanina, marginal VFR to start, becoming VFR, so improving there, hopefully during the morning hours. Portage, same thing, could have some low clouds, maybe some fog, so marginal VFR, maybe even IFR to start, and then becoming VFR. And for Chilkoot and White, looks like IFR flying conditions for those two passes throughout the entire day. And for the freezing levels here, 2 to 4,000 feet there, hung up over the Brooks Range, with the surface actually getting south of the Brooks Range there for tomorrow morning. 4,000 feet out west here, all the way down south of the Aleutians there across the Bering Sea. Otherwise, roughly about 6,000 feet here over the central and southern interior, up to 8,000 feet over the southern southeast coast. And for icing here, again, southwest flow, a lot of moisture rolling into the southeast coast for the next several few days. So some considerable moderate rime icing there, likely at some point in the day tomorrow, if not the entire day here across all of the southeast coast. Otherwise, isolated moderate rime or mixed icing across southern Alaska here, possibly as far out as the Pribilof Islands. And looking at the jet stream here, general trough of low pressure across mainland Alaska from the eastern Bering Sea, with this stronger system swinging northeastward there off the north coast of the Panhandle. We've got chilly northerly winds out here over the Bering Sea, 50 up to 80 knots here, and that kind of keeping the Pacific jet to the south here. So you can see the strongest wind south of the Alaska Peninsula, and then curving back and around here up to 120 knots there over western Canada. And for the 9,000-foot winds, again, a pretty active low here off the coast of the Panhandle. Good southwest flow continues pushing moisture in, keeping the wet weather pattern going there, probably into the middle of next week. And weaker low here off the southwest coast. And then an Arctic low up here, giving a little bit of wind there to the eastern Beaufort Sea coast. And 3,000 feet, look for some 30-knot winds there right off the coast there near or north of Barter Island. Otherwise pretty light up in that area through the interior down into the Gulf of Alaska. Northwest winds 35 knots through Kamishak Gap across the Barren Islands, also here across the Aleutian Range. Northerlies 30 knots, St. Lawrence Island back up to Cape Lisburne. Southwest 30 knots for the southeast coast. Pretty light out here over the Bering Sea. And for turbulence, with those gusty northerlies there, could see some bumpy conditions, Point Hope, Cape Lisburne, western Seward Peninsula to St. Lawrence Island, and possibly even the eastern Beaufort Sea coast. Better chance of considerable moderate turbulence there for the Kamishak Bay area into the Barren Islands, clipping the southern Kenai Peninsula, and from southern Kodiak Island, especially Sitkinak, Akiak areas in the Alaska Peninsula, and also along the central and south coast of the Panhandle.